Tuesday. There it is. It is 3:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Happy Tuesday to you guys. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We're about to learn some things since the topic is going to be about dimensions. What are dimensions, as well as what is the first dimension? What is the void? Is it that 0 point, energy that people had talked about? What is it? So we're going to explain all that to you. So you guys are going to learn a little bit of quantum mechanics and quantum physics today. And I'm going to break it all down so that way it can be easily digestible and anyone can really grasp and understand it. But it's very important to understand what dimensions are. I mean, who of you actually know, or who of you actually believe that a dimension is a place that you go? I know I did at first. So some people actually believe that dimensions are a place to go rather than something that is of consciousness, something that is within our mind. So let's let some people come out in and everything else. I tried doing this live earlier today, but I had hardly any sleep whatsoever. I was really dragging it. I was all over the place, so I ended up deleting that live because I wanted to make sure that people grasped it rather than being all over the place. So let's get started. What are dimensions? What is dimensional consciousness? We're going to be introducing like the first dimension of unity and the whole aspect of I am. What are dimensions? I am sure that many of you had ended up hearing that someone say that we're third dimensional conscious species, or that we're about to evolve into the fourth or fifth dimension human species. And you're probably like, what? Dimensional what? What does that even mean? I mean, I totally get it, because when I had ended up starting, I had no idea either. And it wasn't until my experience, or rather my journey years ago, that I ended up realizing the perspective of what all that meant. So what does dimensional consciousness mean to you? So is it a place that you think of that you have to go? Or is it something that is within your own consciousness? A dimension is definitely a state of consciousness, and it means of organizing of different planes of existence according to a vibrationary rate of what actually exists. I mean, each dimension has a certain set of laws and principles that are specific to that frequency of that dimension. And those who resonate with a particular level of energy, referring to the aspect of vibration, because everything is of vibration and light, it exists within that dimension. Various names, as many others, has been used, and many people to explain the unexplainable and the differentiate among these regions of frequency. The planes are neither above nor below, or even from one another, so by interpreting or existing the same space. So you can't judge one or the other. And within each density, there is a wide variety of dimensions. It's similar to like radio frequencies, where you have free will to wind up choosing the station. When you get in the car and you start changing the radio station and everything else, it's the rate of vibration, and it's of your choice. That's when the whole free will comes into play. And this is never to imply that one density is better than the other, because it's not. To understand all this is to allow me to use the example of water in an analogy. Okay, if you look at water exists in three different parts, right? You got water, you got ice, and you got steam, right? So the difference is that the rate in which the molecules in that water that is moving. With ice, the water, the ice, it is water, but it's just that the molecules have definitely slowed down. Where with steam, it is the same thing, it's water, but it's the fact that the molecules have sped up. We don't judge the steam to be any better than ice, right? I mean, that would be ridiculous. But both are simply different states and rates of that water that we can assume. And people are the same way when it comes to different types of dimensional consciousness. So with each logical dimensions are basically different states of being, and interconnected through a holographic and waving wondrous movements of sound, color, and form, breathing in and out at a constant state of creation. So everything is of sound, everything is of vibration and frequency. So remember that. So what is the first dimension to you? What would you look at, or how would you imagine what the first dimension would be to you? You see, the dimension of many perspectives, which I'm going to break it down, but there is definitely an important core to it all. The first dimension is the consciousness of Gaia, the physical prime atom. This dimension is the realm of the mineral king. You know, basically different minerals that play and act within the Big Bang Theory, right? And it's the slowest in terms of vibrationary rate. So, with Earth and Gaia, we know it as atoms and molecules and minerals, right? And Gaia indeed is alive and holds knowledge you seek. Your consciousness winds up affecting Gaia and what she reveals. So because we are all expressions of Gaia, and we are also expressions of one another. That's the whole theory of we are all one, right? So humans' first dimensional consciousness is unconscious. And when we wind up connecting to that level, we connect with the entire physical world on a molecule level. So basically, this is a place of quantum physics, a place of electrons, protons, nuclei, and quarks. It is the gateway between the macrocosm and the microcosm. Okay, basically the huge aspect of space and down to the finest, smallest parts. The humankind is definitely encoded. Okay, and as you evolve, you follow a pattern into what is concealed knowledge within you. I mean, think of it this way. So the ancients know how to prepare stone for storing knowledge, right? Like the builders of temples use natural geomancy and energy flow of a location to store the total of what they knew, like what was done in the pyramids in Giza, as they were placed in a particular location geographically where the energy had flowed and aligned with the stars. Stones are definitely the bones of Gaia, which is why, like, each one carries a significant vibrational frequency, such as crystals or turquoise and so on and so forth. Those are the bones of Gaia. So think about it when you wind up visiting any type of ancient site, sacred site, and the experience of formulas of higher consciousness you often pick up was left like 1,000 years ago. And by journeying to these places, your body is exposed to these energies, and they access the blueprint along with, you access the blueprint, which helps you evolve. And the same situation winds up happening in other sites that are not sacred to the universe, but sacred to past civilizations, like events, whether that was like something happened there that was either negative or positively charged, because it all stores energy. It all stores energy, and it stores wisdom within that frequency, depending on what that frequency is and what happened there. You see, Gaia reads you as you live and breathe on her, and she knows the stage of your development and your ability to accept responsibility. And there is no way to fool Universal Mother. You can't just tell her, "Hey, I'm ready to ascend," and you're really not. You can't fool her. You can't tell her that you're ready when you're not. And she's only going to reveal to you and what you're ready to accept. So Gaia is definitely exceptionally a vital place, and it's revealing to her essence to you as you are able to perceive the keys to redefine yourself. So it is when you infuse yourself with energy and you wind up surrendering and work with intention in the lower densities. You literally send bolts of change around the globe. So for a moment, think about this. The first humans had existed like 13 million years ago in the universe. The humanoid being, basically the humanoid beings, to be more accurate. Then you got 6,000 million years ago was the creation of the universe itself. And to find this, you have to look within as well as to connect with what is called the Tham Tharga, which which means the spinal cord of the universe, and what many spiritualists would know as the central Akashic register. I could speak. The central I could talk. Come on, guys. The central Akashic records. There you go. Man, that's like a Dr. Seuss gone bad right there. The universe, it's basically like the universe's internet. It's like a Google search for the universe. I mean, actually, it's way better than Google. Sorry, Google. You're out of here. Basically, the dimension is not just a place that you go. I mean, a lot of people would think that different dimensions are somewhere that you go, but it's not. It's actually a perspective. It's a perspective that you have in reality. And a reality is just one thing, just one dimension, just one truth. Yet that one truth has many ways to be seen. When all beings can see only one truth, then you have many more perspectives to improve that truth. Kind of like as this person speaks their truth. They believe it's true. It doesn't matter whether you agree with it or not. It's irrelevant. But they're speaking their perspective. They're speaking their truth, just like I'm speaking my truth. And so on and so forth. So it all leads to truth. It's just that we have different perspectives of it because we view things differently. So that is why that we have at least 9 dimensions to the basis of our own reality. And to understand it completely and fully, we actually have 12 dimensions to be able to understand it in a complete aspect. So right now we're only we only see at a 3rd dimension. And when we actually live in many of them, that's why humans are considered multidimensional, right? That's why we have said that, you know, that basically humans could go to many different dimensions, but it's not the aspect of going to, remember? It's because that we have only just one projection and of the universe and the expression, and we're also the expression of Gaia. When you go through every dimension, you don't go through with the mind. The only way there is through here, your heart. That's why unconditional love is extremely important, because the heart is the only one that can feel before it can understand. The mind is just a process to understand reality, where feelings is just only one way you can go through reality. You see, dimensions is simply different perspectives of the truth. Think of the truth as a sphere, okay? A sphere. You can only see one thing. You can only see one part of it, which is why each of us has a piece of that puzzle, that different prospect or that different aspect of the truth. So the first dimension is the one that holds all the realities in one perspective. The first one is just a spot. It's just a spot in that sphere, in that core. It sits right in the core of that sphere. So going outside of yourself to find the truth is not the proper way to go. The goal is going inside the planet, because it's there when we can see every prospect in that one spot. So the goal in reality is to live every dimension, but not to go to those dimensions, to only understand them, that they are only just one perspectives. They're just many perspectives of the first one, which is unity. The first dimension is the mind, the thoughts. It's nothing but consciousness. That is the only thing that exists. So you see, the mind is only one spot, is where every perspective is projected in the universe. That there is nothing else, and it's only the mind. The way of thinking is thoughts and frequency of what creates frequency, which is what we wind up calling time and space. Unity was never created. It was just something that existed because it's constant. It's a projection of the self. It's just one being, which some would call as God or source or creator. Yet it's better to be understood or acknowledged as consciousness. We are all consciousness. It's just that we are all living different perspectives of that consciousness. This, the skin that we have, the bones that we call our body, it's only our uniform for our spirit to wear, to walk in that reality. And with reality, it is a place where we come from to go to. That is why every being in the universe is telling every one of us to go into unity. To go to unity is to remember that we are one. Yet humanity in general really doesn't know exactly what it is to be one. Do you? What does it mean to be one to you? This is why the confederations of higher beings who identified themselves as Ra, who channeled through their teachings of wisdom of the law of one, because everything winds up going in this, the first dimension is the one that holds everything together, and that's why they consider it the law of one, the law of one of unity, the law of one of all of us being connected. An example that many of us think that being one is to be together, that everyone winds up thinking the same, that everyone is happy, all peace and harmony, butterflies and unicorns. And it's certainly, definitely a beautiful thought, but it's not it at all. It's just to remember that we are all just holograms of reality, of that one spot, that one sphere, that's right in the corner. That is where no reality exists but one. The only thing the universe knew was one thing, and its consciousness. I am. So the universe was created from the self, and from the one moment that Ion asked itself, who can I come to become? As that was the beginning of everything, not the galaxies or the stars, but from one idea of being something else. As I had said in one of my other videos, I had talked about when I came to free will. I had talked about that we are all basically imitating the source, the creator, when he was trying to find himself. And when he finds himself, it's within the first dimension, the I am. Who can I come to become? There was no time in that aspect. There was no space. And when you try to think of unity, the only way that you can achieve that goal is to feel it, to think about it. It's in your mind, right here. It's in your imagination. It's the only way to achieve unity. And being in the 3D, we can only achieve the understanding of unity through our mind. Every idea, what we have about reality, because every reality is just thinking. So it's not the real truth. So there is no way to compare the beginning with anything you could possibly know. That's why every being and every planet were told how to go into unity. The first thing they had to do was to unlearn everything they learned in their life, and they had to forget. The way that you can remember is to forget everything you know. In 3D, that's why when we came into our physical vessel, that we had amnesia. We couldn't remember nothing because we had to. To remember, we had to forget. So that, my friends, is what we call the void. That's the emptiness. That's the 0 point of energy. The 0 point energy field. You see that there is nothing. That suddenly you finally see that darkness, because to find the light, you have to embrace the dark, right? The void is where you could basically possibly see everything within, because it's of silence. It's nobody but you there. And from there, you can wind up seeing within the first dimension. It's not something that you can see. It's something that you can feel. As feeling is the only way that you can understand the first dimension. There are so many feelings that we call like neutrality. It's where you wind up feeling all kinds of things, but where you just can't feel anything at all. It's like you're just floating in the universe, where you realize the first dimension is just what you project to the universe, as it's an idea, it's an imagination. So the best way to understand this first dimension is to go back to your childhood. The moment when we imagined everything. Everything to us was reality. It was real to us what we imagined. You know, from the time that we had played house or played supermarket and this, it was real to us. And our imagination just ran wild. Remembering that you could imagine anything, that you were basically free from any experience that you might have been experiencing. I mean, think about when you were a kid. If you had any type of experience, whether it was something that didn't make you feel comfortable, it didn't make you feel good inside, you could always go into your imagination and you felt like you were set free because everything to you was real. Suddenly you winded up realizing that you could travel through time and space just from being in one spot. You didn't have to go anywhere. It was all right here. It was right here. Your imagination, your thoughts, and what you felt right here. So the beginning of everything is not of light. It wasn't it wasn't light when we were in our mother's wombs, right? It's not an element. It's not a thinking. It's not a thought. So is this what you had in mind and what the dimensions are like? That is not a place that you travel, but it's within your mind. It's where we wind up understanding unity. It's where we understand our true essence, our true existence, which is I am. Now, next time we will wind up covering the second dimension. So definitely keep an eye out on that. But I wanted to tell you, I honor every one of you. And thank you for coming to my live. And thank you for taking this journey with me and learning about what dimensions are. What is the first dimension? And and it's just amazing. And Richard said, he always had his teddy bear. I had a stuffed cat, but yeah, it's the one thing that we always had. Just thinking back into our childhood is just a magical moment. And we all realize that imagination is definitely the key and how important it truly is. It's just with conditioning and everything else, we forgot how important imagination was. We forgot that was the key. We were all too busy trying to look outside of ourselves, trying to find that magical key, when really we had to look back from the beginning to find what that key was. And it was within our mind. It was our imagination. And that, my friends, what we seen and imagined here and what we felt right here was how we traveled through dimensions as being small before we even knew we were even doing it. So thank you guys so much for coming on, and I appreciate every one of you. Namaste, and I honor every one of you, and I will see you next time when we talk about the second dimension. You have a good one.